how I stopped overworking with this simple productivity system. If you're a highly ambitious, high achieving Black woman, like most of us Black women are, especially those that struggle with um, this journey to quit being a strong Black woman, you've probably been working harder and harder trying to finally get ahead so that you can finally have more time, um, have more money, have more energy, have more space to rest, and all of these things that you want so that you can finally live your soft life. This video is for you. Let me tell you, back in 2015, I thought I was cracking the code. I was getting promoted, paying off debt, building my friend group in a new city. I was living in the city that I always wanted to live in, and I was juggling everything, supposedly. But I was actually running on fumes. I kept telling myself, things are going to level out. It's going to get easier just a little while longer. But here's the thing, then things at work hit the fan. You know, things start going crazy. And I realized I wasn't actually getting ahead of not even close. Instead, I was running in place. I was completely drained. I wanted so badly to be fulfilled by my work and everything that I was doing. And yet I still yearned for more. To make matters worse, I got so wrapped up in working that I had forgotten, like, what the heck am I doing this for? Like, why am I working so hard? And when I stopped and I took a second to actually ask myself, what the heck are we doing here? Like, what dreams are we fighting before? Like, what is the end game of this? I realized, "Ooh, I have to do something different because what I wanted, I wasn't ever going to accomplish it this way. Like, this was not, this wasn't it. What I was doing wasn't it. I wasn't cracking any code. And the way that I was trying to get to it, cracking that code wasn't working. That's when it hit me. I was working so hard to create time and energy for myself, but I could have just taken the time for myself. Instead of trying to work for it, I could just take it for myself right now. Hmm. That realization made me rethink everything. Instead of working harder to do the things I love, I could take time. I could use my vacation time, budget my money, hang out with friends. And that was all I needed to do. I needed to stop overcomplicating things. I wasn't intentionally overcomplicating it, but I realized in actuality, I was. It was time to stop trading the joy in my life for someone else's priorities. Something had to change. It was time for things to change. So, hey, I am Rashidat. I'm a lifestyle coach for Black women, and I help us learn to work less and live more. So, by teaching vision and life skills, I help you design and live a life that feels as good as it looks. So, if you're ready to create a life that you love, make sure you stick around, watch the full video, and then share this video with another Black woman who is on the same wave. So back to the story. I know I'm not the only one who has stayed late at work, um, trying to get ahead, hoping that, okay, if I get ahead today, I could leave early tomorrow, only for tomorrow to come. And I work just as late tomorrow as I do today, right? Am I the only one? Okay. Am I the only one who has been on YouTube looking for productivity hacks and looking for different ways that I could, get more things done to be more efficient in the way that I do things, that I could set up the perfect schedule that I never overbooked myself and I was always super productive. I know I'm not the only one that has said yes to something, knowing darn well that I should not be saying yes to this thing. But just because it felt like it was easier than telling that person no, I just decided to do it again. All of these things have been the ways that I have been digging my own self in a hole. If you're nodding along, you've been doing that same thing too. You've been doing these things, hoping that it's finally going to help you get more rest, that you'll finally get ahead to have more fun, that life is finally going to get to the place where you can take a deep breath and maintain it, right? But instead of getting that deep breath, I found that I was just burnt out, side-eyeing everybody because I was annoyed as heck with them and still stuck with all the work. And I was like, you know what? I can't. There's got to be another way. So here's the thing that I've realized as I've taken this time to reflect and really learn from my own mistakes. It doesn't have to be this way. So I want to show you how to use my favorite productivity tool, the realistic schedule, to live my soft life. Now, that might sound like a little bit of a paradox, a productivity tool to live your soft life. But yes, that's the priority. That's why I'm showing you this. This is not about you getting more and more things done so that you can get more and more things done. I want you to be more productive so that you can have more time for yourself and that you can spend less time working. Remember, I said I help my clients work less and live more. And this realistic schedule is what's going to help you do that. And the best part is I'm going to walk you through in this video right now, I'm going to walk you through how to set it up. So let's get into it. If you're the productivity girly, more than likely you've watched these two videos, so I want to shout them out. They're really two great videos by two great creators. The first video is by JD Williams, The One Habit That Is Changing My Life, Set Systems Rather Than Goals. Okay. Or you probably have watched this other video, How to Set Systems Instead of Goals, by Alexis Kingsley. Two really amazing videos. Both have had over 725,000 views. But here's the thing that I want to shift as far as the context for this. These videos tend to be for people who are probably having a hard time jumpstarting themselves and getting things done. But I want to talk about this in the context of Black women because, listen, we have never, we have never had a hard time getting things done. We, especially when it's motivated for other people. Instead, I want us to talk about this in the context of what does it look like to stop doing everything for everybody else, have better boundaries for ourselves so that we can have more time and energy to do the things that bring us alive rather than devoting our time and energy to other people and other things. So this tool is how we're going to redirect that energy that we're giving to everybody else to doing things for ourselves. Let's actually get into the walkthrough. By the way, I have this worksheet. It's $1. The link to it is down in the description. You can go and get that worksheet for me right now and do the exercise with me right here, right now. So I am opening the worksheet on my iPad. I like to use an app called GoodNotes. It's a PDF annotator. It's the way that I take notes on all my PDFs and do all my worksheets. You can do the same, or you can actually print the worksheet out and do the activities that way. But whatever feels good for you. But this is the easiest way for me to be able to show you what I'm doing on the screen. Okay. So that being said, you got the worksheet open, the realistic schedule, the budget for your time and energy, how to work less and live more. I give you a little bit of introduction, and then I give you some directions on how to work through this worksheet on your own. Now, I am going to show you in this video. So I hope that you use this as a companion to help you take action to get this done. So when you get to page number 4, you're going to see this calendar looking view where it has all the hours of the day for 7 days of the week. Now, the way that you want to start by filling in this is first, I want you to really compartmentalize in your mind. You want to have an idea of what, not just your realistic schedule, but what does you want your week to look like on a regular basis? Some people really like um, to go with the flow, but a lot of times, most of us do better. We get more done, we're more productive when we have a little bit of structure. And there can be room to ebb and flow within the structure, but I want you to start with creating the structure and then you can adapt it. And you can always ebb and flow within the structure. And I'm going to show you how to do that too. So once you have the worksheet open, you're going to see that it has all the times and all the days for the week. I started with a Monday and it goes to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then it includes every hour of the day. So 1 a.m. all the way down to midnight. So every hour is included here. And just like you would do for your money, you want to budget every single hour of the day. Now that may feel overwhelming because you're probably like, but I don't want to spend or give every hour away. Well, here's the truth. You're not giving every hour away. I want you to take this and put in just as much time for you and all the time that you want for you and see how you've been probably giving that away for other things and you shouldn't have been. So here's the first thing that you do. I want you to think about, when do you go to bed? I generally go to bed. I have a evening routine at around 9:30, and that is when I take some time and I take my supplements for the day. I kind of allow myself to put on my pajamas. I start getting into bed. I start winding down for the evening. So that's my evening wind down time. Now, here's one thing that I want you to notice. If you go to bed at a different time during the week than you do on the weekends, then I want you to make sure you actually show the difference in the time that you go to bed on the weekends versus the weekdays. I will say I generally do my wind down time at the same time every day, no matter whether it's during the week or during the weekend. But my bedtime, I do that a little later. So this is my wind down time. And then my bedtime, I'm probably in the bed watching TV from 10, well, actually that's, yeah, so that's 9:30. So, if I usually get to bed, if I'm usually doing my evening routine from 9:30 to 10, then I'm usually in bed just kinda hanging out, resting from 10 to 11:30. So I'm going to block that off like this. Actually, I'll take that back. Remember, I just said I'm only gonna do this for the weekdays. So I think the weekdays it's here. If I make it bigger, I'll be able to see. Okay. There we go. So then my Friday and Saturday. So this is my kind of evening, my late evening rest time. And then on the weekends, I like to stay up a little bit later, not much. So I'm gonna make my evening rest time a little bit later on the weekends. And this is gonna be my same thing, late evening rest time. And then here, this is my bedtime. So I actually can leave this open-ended because it's going to overlap. It's going to overlap to the top of the schedule. Oh, wants to do that. Let me do it a different way. Okay. So this starts my sleep time. And then during the week, I wake up at about 7:30. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to block this off for my sleep time. And you can see when I zoom out, you're already seeing how my budget is filling up. That's the point. We want to be able to see how we're using our time and energy, and we're seeing it down on paper rather than trying to visualize it in our minds. Okay. So now that we've got our sleep during the week, I do sleep a little bit later on the weekends. So I am going to make this a little different, especially because I went to bed a little bit later on the weekend. Okay. So now that's a little bit different as well. This is my sleep. Now, I'm going to do this as if I'm a corporate girly. Um, so then during the week, 9 times out of 10, you probably work 9 to 5. So let's go ahead and block off the work time. Now, I want to give my work time and my rest time do two different colors. So my rest time is going to be this green that I've been using so far, and then my work time is going to be purple. Okay. So my work time is from 9 to 5. So I will say whatever your work time is, set it in the calendar. If you are a corporate girly and you work 9 to 5, or maybe a corporate girly that works 7 to 4, put it in based on that. Okay. Not just based on mine. Do it based on your lifestyle so that we can see how much time you actually have available. So then getting ready in the morning, you might be the person that gets up early to work out in the morning. If that's the case, you might wanna block that time in here. Maybe that's here, and you block that off, and this, is workout time. And then you might have get dressed time. Okay, so as you're doing this, the whole point is that you're trying to see that you're starting to actually schedule, you're starting to block off how you use every hour, every minute of your day, okay? So then now, if you work from home, this might be the time that you make breakfast and get settled into your workstation. And if you're the girly that drives to work, then this might be your drive to work time. So it might be transit time, but this, no matter what, it's some kind of transition from the work start, from being at home, being like in your personal life into your work life. So I'm going to call this transition time. Okay. Then after work, you probably have some kind of transition time where you go back home as well. So what is you block that off as well. Maybe now this is where things start to get a little bit more interesting when you start planning your evenings because that's a lot of times where we do our rest of fun activities and hopefully we're leaving work on time. Hopefully we're even if we're prioritizing or even if we're making time to hang out with friends, we're making time for ourselves, whether that's introversion time or whatever kind of rest time that you need. So maybe you're like me, and on Tuesdays, you like to go to run club. So you block that off, and that's your hobby. And then maybe Wednesdays. Wednesdays is the time of the week where you like to just go home and be by yourself. You're halfway through the week, you've used a lot of energy, you need introversion time. Now, here's the thing. I want you to create this first version of your time and energy budget based on what you do. Because what you're probably going to find is you probably don't have these big blocks of times like this. You don't have these like you need to. And this is where you probably should be adding them in. So I'm an in between because these are things that I've already done in practice, that I already do in practice. But I want you to start thinking about how you can start adding them in for yourself. So maybe on Monday, you run from one activity to the next activity to the next activity, and you find that Mondays you're always tired. That means you need to relook at how your Mondays are set up. You've blocked yourself in with not much rest time within here. Maybe you need to get one of these activities, and instead of going straight from work to that activity, maybe you need a transition time or rest time just for you. And you don't even have to go all the way home to do that. Maybe it's you just go to a park, or maybe you go to your favorite cafe, whatever it is, especially because so many of us are figuring out that we're introverts and we need that time to rest. This is where you start looking at how you can set that up in your schedule. Okay. So, okay, this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, you might find that you're the person that you're going from activity to activity, and you're still finding yourself really burnt out. And you might even be the person that on this Thursday, you're taking it even a step further. And instead of going to bed at time, you're just skipping all your wind down time and you're jumping right to going to bed. These are the things that tend to make us feel like there's not enough hours in the day. We haven't had enough time to rest. We're burnt out. These are the things why I want you to take a time and look at your time and energy budget and say, oh, that's one of the days where I'm shooting myself in the foot and I have to do things slightly differently. So then maybe on Friday, again, you're like, oh, it's Friday. I got to live it up. I got to do all the things. So you've got activity after activity after activity. Listen, and it's all different shapes and colors and sizes. And you said to hell with sleeping. Listen, you might be that girly that is like during the week, you're straight up introvert. So that once you get to the weekend, you can act like um every day is 19.99, right? I'm not saying don't do that, but understand how that creates a ripple effect in the rest of your week. If you're going to do that, what kind of ways do you need to budget your time and energy so that you can be fully replenished to be your best self for everything else that you do afterwards? So if you spent all that time going out, then maybe even though you feel like you've told yourself that you should get up at 8:30, that you should be doing XYZ, that this is where you actually give yourself more time to sleep on that day. And you really say to yourself, while I want to bully myself into doing more, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to be my best self to be able to show up and do the things that I want to do. Or maybe this is how you start reorganizing your life to give you a little bit more balance in the way that you choose to do things. So another way that you can look at this is if you're a corporate girly and you're in a relationship or you're married and you have kids, these are probably the times when you're like, I feel like I need to do everything. And so I stay out late with my girls because I needed that time. I needed that time to be away from my family. But now I gotta go home and do all the chores for my family. Maybe this is when you say, I'm double booking myself. No wonder I'm always tired because I'm not getting the sleep. And instead of me being the one to do the laundry, I pay somebody to do that laundry. Or act, you know what? Maybe I actually just let my husband do the laundry instead of feeling like I should be the gender role and taking care of things. You say, hey, honey, it would be really helpful if you help me do XYZ or allow the kids to do it or whatever. A lot of times we as women because we're like, "Oh, it has to be done a certain way," we start taking on responsibilities that our family and friends would happily take on. I'm inviting you to give those things back, delegate them, okay? So that you can have more time and rest to yourself. So, depending on how you are, you're probably starting to see how you've been overbooking yourself. I'm not even talking about meetings on your calendar. I'm talking about how you say you could do how you can multitask. And instead of multitasking, you're actually just burning yourself out and you're never getting all the things done Because when you set yourself up to do that task, you get home and you're like, oh, I'm too tired to do it. And then you end up feeling behind because it doesn't get done and you roll it onto another day where you've double booked yourself again. Do you see how this is a cycle of just overbooking, overworking, bullying yourself into doing more? This is the part that when you do this exercise and you do it right, you start to see, man, I've been setting myself up for failure the whole flipping time, and I'm ready to stop doing that, right? I hope that this has been helpful. You want to go ahead and make sure you fill it in all the way to the end, that you filled out all the different sections. So maybe this is your movie night with your kids is on Saturday. And then maybe earlier in the day is church. And then the afternoon ends up being rest. Now, here's the thing that I want you to do before you finish. Now that you've finished all of your boxes, I want you to go back with a completely different color. And I want you oops, I want you to change the boxes um, that are actually set up for rest and fun. And I want you to give them a different color. And I want you to see just how much time is for rest and fun and how much time is for work. And you might see that you're spending a lot more time on work and a lot more time on other people than you're spending your time for yourself. Again, none of this is bad. It's just a shift. If you're watching something like this, that means you've wanted more rest and fun for you. But you have to see, well, how can I actually make more time for rest and fun for me? Because you probably don't see. Right now, it feels like everybody needs you all the time, and there's no way you can get away and actually make time for you. This is going to help you start to be able to see that. So that's why I want you to do this last part where you actually get to see the color coded part and recognize, listen, I'm not getting enough rest and fun because I'm not actually prioritizing it enough. And this is going to help you start to prioritize it. So now that you've highlighted a couple blocks, you start changing the color. That was for you. This activity was for you. And if you're like me, when I first started doing this exercise, this was everything. These were the only two things that was actually um set up for rest and fun for me. Okay. Um, and I was like, God damn it, you gotta be flipping kidding me. Like, no wonder I'm burnt out. But this realization helped me make a shift, and that was a huge and important thing. All right, so now that you can see that you're not prioritizing enough rest and fun, now you can start making small changes. Don't try to do an overhaul and quit everything at one time. There's beauty in doing that, but I don't think you need to do that to see big wins in this activity. You can start by just shifting a little thing. Like maybe on Mondays, you decide to just do one or two less activities, okay? Or or maybe on um Fridays, you decide to work earlier so that you can leave earlier. Whatever it is, this is where you can get creative, but make sure that no matter what you're doing, you're not overbooking or really you have to get out of this mindset of multitasking. We've been told that multitasking is a good thing, but multitasking is only a good thing for the people who are getting the work from you. They're overworking you to get the benefits from you. Stop multitasking so that you can get what you need for you. Okay? Keep your time for yourself. Okay? All right. So then the next page is about you helping you do this mental review of everything that you've done on of everything that you've just set up on your time and energy on your yes, on your time and energy budget. And it's going to ask you some questions to help you really reflect and see, you know, these are some things that I could shift, and it's going to give you some ideas on how you can make those shifts. Okay. Then I also give you some tips on how to start transitioning this to make it into reality. And that brings me to the third step of what I want to show you in this video. Now that you've created your time and energy budget, the next thing that you really want to do is start using this time and energy budget in your life. Well, how do you do that? I walk you through how to do that every single Friday in Freedom Friday. But let me give you the rundown of it first. So now, when it's time to create your schedule, first of all, this goes hand in hand with doing weekly scheduling. So some people like to do their weekly scheduling on Sunday. I like to do my weekly scheduling on Friday because I want to know that by the end of the day on Friday, I have shut down all the work. I've put it out of my mind and I'm already set up for success for the next week. I already know what days I'm resting. I know what times setting aside for myself, what times are for work, what projects I'm doing, who I'm spending time with, how much time I'm spending. And it sets me up to really protect my energy because I know that if I give extra energy to this thing over here, I'm not going to have the energy I want to do that I want to do over on this side. And so I use that weekly planning to help me get really clear on how I want to use my time and energy every week. And this time and energy budget is what I keep next to me when I'm creating that weekly schedule, because this is the realistic version. This is the best version of what I want my week to look like. And when I have that next to me, I can help myself not overbook myself in real time. So I keep that next to me in another screen because you guys don't get to see that, but you do get to see me setting up my schedule. And the beautiful thing about this, I use an amazing digital planner called Ellie, and it allows me to put my time and energy budget directly in Ellie. So it time blocks things off, and I get to delegate. Okay, so for this work time, I need to work on one, two, three, four, five, six, seven tasks in that work day. And for this personal time, because I've blocked off time for my personal time. Now I know how I want to use it. I want to use that time for me, or I want to use that time to do laundry, or I want to use that time to go hang out with my girlfriends, or I want to use that time to go on a date with so and so. But now I'm starting to delegate. I'm starting to block in what each of those time frames are going to be for. And I can cut them in half and make them smaller and bigger, but I'm doing it in a way that I'm never overlapping how my schedule is going to look. Okay. So now I've showed you how to create your realistic schedule. I'll walk you through that. I've also given you some resources on how to do it on your own. And I've also showed you how you'll start to use this in real life. Now that you've created it, now you gotta start using it in real life. So if you are the person that's like, "Yes, I love this. I love how this is empowering me to create more freedom." I want you to join me for the next Freedom Fridays event where you can see how we come together as Black women in the community and we celebrate our wins for the week. We set up our schedule for next week and then we wind down for the weekend. This is going to help you start shifting your life and give you that accountability and community to help you stop overbooking yourself and preserve time and energy for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next Freedom Friday.